So this is the chrome that was on the grill. The Eagle has landed.
Checkout dude was a tree sticking out the side of the car.
The checkout dude was a
He has a tree sticking out the side of his window of his Jeep.
Oh, trees. I thought you said, oh my gosh. All right, I'm gonna, yeah. Oh, you all right? You're bleeding? Oh, dude. Let me see. Holy shit. What did you hit? Oh my gosh. Headlight housing bracket. This thing sucks. I've never seen anything like this before, and it looks like you'd want to use a snap ring plier. That didn't work either. You're better off stabbing your finger a few thousand times. Hey guys, welcome back for another video. We're over in the storage/detailing bay at the shop right now, and we got a 2000 Mercury Mountaineer behind me. I'm super excited about this, you guys. I picked this up about 2 weeks ago, and I haven't shown it to you yet. Why am I excited about this? Now, we're in Minnesota, so everything, particularly something this year, is going to be rusty, roached out, right? This particular Mountaineer was from Utah, so there's no rust on this thing to speak of anywhere. It's four-wheel drive, and it has the 5-liter V8. So I picked this thing up from my uncle. He brought it up from Utah, and we're gonna start a little video series on the Mountaineer. So there's a few things we're gonna do, and we're gonna do it in stages. I'm gonna flip you around, get you a look. So you can tell looking at the paint, I mean, definitely from Utah, sun faded. One thing we're gonna do, first stage here, we're gonna polish these headlights, and we're gonna take care of this grill. I'm not a fan of chrome, and you can see it's like peeling right here. I just want to get you a good look at this thing. Down here we got some fog lights. We're gonna do something with those. Going around the side, we don't have a lot of room in here, but you can see it came with some Walmart Goodyear tires. They're actually in pretty good shape. Steel wheels, nothing crazy, good condition. Like I said, this one does have the 5-liter V8. I do want to find this little trim piece to go with the rest of the badge engineering, but get you a look inside of the vehicle. Again, I haven't done anything with it. I'm gonna get rid of these nasty seat covers. You can see it's dirty. I haven't cleaned. Somebody smoked. I do have some of my stuff in here, but a lot of this was in the vehicle when I got it. Again, we're in the little storage area at the shop right now, so I can't get you a great look at the vehicle, but here's the thing, you guys. I picked this up 2 weeks ago, and I haven't touched anything because I wanted to get it on video, and it's been killing me because I haven't even cleaned it. So we're going to break the series with the Mountaineer down into stages. We're going to do the first stage right now in this video, and that's going to be, one, a headlight restoration first and foremost. We're going to be repainting the grill. I'm going to get rid of all that wrinkling, and we're going to get rid of the chrome because I'm not a giant fan of that. We're going to be doing something with the fog lights, and we're going to wash the outside and detail the inside. So let's get to it. All right, super ghetto, board holding up because the hood struts are blown out, so that little stuff like that I'm not going to include in the build series as stages, but I really should order those at some point. You can see this is the 5-liter V8, so I couldn't pass this thing up, you guys. $1,700, I had to buy it, right? My uncle brought it up from Utah, as I stated. I haven't touched anything, so even the engine bay is super filthy. Somebody put drywall screws on the battery clamps, so we'll probably replace those as well. Like I said, that boring stuff is not going to be part of the video series, but we're going to work on getting this grill out of here. All right, so this kind of just peels up out of the way. We got some Phillips head screws. I'm pretty sure we'll have to take this Phillips head screw out for the corner lights, so we'll work on that. Here's the thing, you guys. We're going to take the grill out right now, and then I can start sanding and prepping this to get painted. I'll show you what we're going to do with that. The headlights, I'm going to put back in what I have to take out when I get the grill out of here because I can still drive it without a grill. We're going to be polishing the headlights on the car. I'm not going to clear them on the car, but I am going to polish them on the car simply because then they're stable. And I can apply some nice even pressure polisher to sand. These, we're going to talk about what I do with these, and this is also part of my business, you guys. I do headlight restorations all the time, so we're going to do something with that, but right now we're just worried about getting this out. So we're going to take those few Phillips head screws out. You know, I think we have to take this out, and we're going to get this grill out of the car. All right, guys, so like I said, the grill is out. We're going to get you a closer look at it in just a second. Not too hard at all to pull this out. There was, what, 5 screws, and then you had to take the corner lights out. I put them back in because, like I said, we're going to polish them on the car, get them ready for clear coat. I don't like the chrome, and so it's going to go away. This is, again, stage number 1, so we're going to just deal with a few little things, get the vehicle cleaned up. As I said, you guys, I did not touch anything on the car. That being said, I did take a trip down to Minneapolis in it, so filming got a little bit goofy there. My buddy Corey just picked up a 4.7 runner, so we did take it on a road trip. I did put it on the lift and check everything before we took off. Everything checked out fine. Why are we not in the shop? Why are we in the little garage? Because I got a customer's car over there on the lift, and my parts aren't going to be in until tomorrow. So let's flip you around, get you a closer look at this. So like I said, I am not a fan of chrome, and you can see the sun down in Utah was not very kind to this. So this is kind of peeling up. So my plan is to get this off of here as best I can where it's loose like this, scuff the entire thing up, and then we're going to paint it black. And I'm going to use a bed liner and a 2K clear coat. So I'm going to go grab my powered sander, and I'll be right back. All right, so this is the Milwaukee sander that we're going to be using. I got more sanding pads right over here. Forgive me, guys, if I sound a little funky. I'm getting over a really bad bout of allergies and a cold. So I'm going to go ahead, set you up, and I'm just going to see what happens, how far this is going to peel back when I apply the power sander to it. And then we can sand some of this by hand. We're going to get in between all of here because paint does not like to stick to this. So we have to prep it really, really super well. I might take this off. I'd rather not mask it. I want this to be chrome still and the rest of the grill to be black. So I'm going to see if we can take this out. I'm going to set you up, get to sanding. All right, so a little update here. This tin coating, it just peels back fairly easily. You can see where the sun, started to wrinkle it in the plastic. That's actually smooth, but you can see it. So I'm actually just peeling it off, and some pieces are coming in bigger chunks. Some are kind of small like that, but I got to get all this off of here. All right, guys, so it is about an hour and a half, 2 hours later, and I'm already feeling like this was maybe a bad decision, but I think it's going to look really good when we're done. So I'm going to flip you around, show you the aftermath, and then we'll show you the grill over here. It's going to take a little bit longer than we anticipated, so let's show you why. So this is the chrome that was on the grill. So I thought, kind of like on the Cadillac wheels, if you've seen that project, we got one. Actually, I got one over here. Under this mess, we did one of these wheels already. It's already done. I'll get a picture in here. But when I took the chrome off of those, I was able to get all the loose stuff like this off and then kind of blend it with the sander, right? Well, this is plastic, so that was not the case. It would not work that way. So I just sat and peeled it, got all of it off that I could, and then I sanded everything down once. I made a mistake. I used this to try to get into the letters where it said Mercury on the grill, and it did work. One spot I got a little bit too heavy on there, and I messed up the letters, so I just filled it in with some JB Weld, and then here was my idea. You can see we got the chrome, obviously not in here, but off of the grill, right? So there were a few spots where there were no bubbles, so I'm going to have to sand it again because we don't want it to be shiny. We want it more like this. But I put a little skim coat of JB Weld over the transitions. so that my thought is it's not going to be as prone to peeling. Again, this isn't going to be perfect, you know, it's a 2000. I thought this would be a fun little video series. So you can see right there, I hit a transition, I put a little bit right there, some right there, but we got almost all of the chrome stripped off. I'd say about 75% of it stripped off of the grill here. And then I went through with these little picks, tweezers, and I got all of the loose stuff down in these corners out so that that wasn't peeling either. So, like I said, I think I'm going to regret doing this. Well, now the hard part's done, so maybe not. That being said, you guys, I have to let this JB Weld cure, and then we'll have to sand it again. I'll wash it off and get it all ready for our primer. We're going to use a good self-etching primer to get our bed liner to adhere as best we possibly can on this grill. So in the meantime, we're going to work on detailing, washing, and working on the headlights. I'm going to get the headlights to a stage where they're ready for the 2K clear, because I only want to activate the hardener in the 2K clear when I'm ready to clear the grill as well. So we got the grill pretty much prepped. We'll get you a closer look at that. These are some of the tools we use, so we'll go over some of this. One thing I did want to talk about before we lay our primer down on the grill for the Mountaineer is some of the prep work, some of the tools that we're using here. So let me flip you around. So I did clean the grill off and then wipe it down with the solvent after we got done sanding everything. You wouldn't need any of these power tools at all. You could do this all by hand. I used the picks to get some of this chrome material off. Now I want to talk about prep really fast. So these are just two samples of that kind of tin material, which we stated earlier does not like to be painted at all, really. So you can see this piece was not prepped at all. It was not sanded. It was cleaned off, but not sanded. And I can take my nail and go right down to the shiny metal. This piece right here was prepped. It was sanded and scuffed up. I held it right there when I sprayed it. But if I scratch on this piece, you can see it does go into the primer. And again, this isn't, it's only been on here for about 3 hours. But I don't go down to the metal because that self-etch primer can adhere better and bond better when the surface is prepped right, even if it's not optimal. So really take your time on your prep work. Let's go look at the grill. So here's our grill right here, and then we did take on these transitions and put just a little bit of JB Weld there, sanded that all down. Right here is where it said Mountaineer. Again, we filled that with JB Weld and then went over it with some glazing putty, get it nice and smooth. Now we are going to be using a bed liner on this grill, so it doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to hide some of the imperfections. I did go in and sand all of these spokes. You can see right along there, that's nice and sanded where the chrome was not peeling off. So this should be pretty well prepped. I'm going to set you guys up and we're going to lay down the primer. All right, so we got the primer applied to the grill of the Mountaineer. We went with a self-etch primer first after we got everything good and clean. That was kind of the green colored primer you saw in that time lapse. And then we used a high build primer over the top. This is getting a spray-on bed liner with a 2K clear, so it's gonna be nice and strong once we're done. The Rust-Oleum spray-on bed liner by itself without a 2K clear on top of it, hit or miss, doesn't hold up that great. So I'm excited to see this once it's all shined up. We're gonna let this flash and then we'll apply the bed liner. All right, so that's coat number one, and my experience with this stuff, you want to lay it on kind of thin. It seems to adhere better that way, and you can get some runs and stuff like that. You can play around with the amount of texture that you want just based on how close you are, how long you stay in one spot, all that good stuff. So it might not look very good right now, but when we're done, I promise you this is going to look awesome. Righty guys, it's coming along. We got 2 coats of the truck bed coating bed liner from Rust-Oleum on there. I like the color that this gives. It is not super textured like you would think of bed liner. If you used, like, let's say Monster liner, Raptor liner, you're gonna get better texture, and I'll flip you over and show you what it looks like right now. But I did want to show you what we're going to do to try and add a little more texture to this. And I've used this method before. It works really well. You go down to Walmart, wherever you can get Rust-Oleum, and you get the stone textured paint. And we're just going to apply it on here really lightly because this stuff, when it goes, it goes. So you don't want to put too much on. You can always add more later. But we're going to put this on there and then more of the truck bed coating. So I'm going to shake this up, get it going. We'll show you the finish. You can see, and I don't want to touch it, it's dry, but there's some texture there, but you can still see some of our imperfections, which I wanted more of a textured look to this grill than this. So like I said, we're going to use the stone, and then obviously we don't have full coverage yet, so we're going to apply some of this on there. We'll get you a look at that, see what it looks like, and then we'll do more truck bed coating. It's gonna look worse before it looks better. All right, so that's the first coat. I'm gonna go in and add another coat. You can kind of see what that texture looks like on the grill. Now, you don't want to touch this stuff, and you want to give it ample time to dry. It's gonna be hard to see. Yeah, it's gonna be really hard to see the texture on the camera, but it does add a good texture to your paints and surfaces. But if you touch this while it's wet, it's actually going to flatten. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of puffy, and you want to let it get nice and dry before you touch it, because you'll just flatten it out and you'll definitely see where you touch the paint. All right, so we got the amount of texture on the grill that I'm happy with, and then obviously we're going to put the logo back in the middle of the grill. But once this dries, and you're just, you know, it's kind of a speckled paint, it kind of just splatters it all over, so it's going to be kind of tricky, but you want to get it so it looks fairly even like that. So if you can get that, and you just, obviously if you want more texture, let it dry a little bit, apply more. Once this tacks up, then we'll go back over it with some more truck bed coating. Figured we'd get a shot in the light. Obviously we're gonna do a few more coats. We don't have complete even coverage yet, but look at the texture that that gives the grill. And that's just from using that Rust-Oleum pebble, stone, whatever you want to call it, paint. So it's coming out really good. A couple more coats, we'll be ready for the 2K clear. All right, so moving on, we're gonna do the headlights now. I'm gonna time lapse some of this, show you exactly how I do it, exactly what we use. This works really, really well. I do it for customers as part of the detailing side of my business. These headlights, you can even see it when I'm not zoomed in on them, showing you a close-up look. They've seen better days, right? These plastic headlights, and there's a few tips and tricks and things that I've learned over the years to make these look really good, last a really long time. Now, you can go to Walmart, AutoZone, whatever, and get like the 3M kit. They look great, but it doesn't last. So we're going to be using the 2K clear on these headlights when we are completely done. That being said, though, I do go through a lot of steps of sanding. You wouldn't necessarily have to do it exactly the same way that I do, but this is the way that I have found gives me the best results. All right, so laid out on the hood here are all of the items that I use to do this. So this is my drill brush bucket. Just has water in it, nice and simple. The Dawn Power Wash I'm just going to use to clean the lights. You can see all the bugs and crap on there. The other one isn't about the same shape over there, but first we're going to clean all this crap off. The corner lights, you can see, actually don't look too bad. We're going to do them at the same time though, just because then they'll match. You know, we'll do the exact same thing on both sides. So the Dawn Power Wash is just to clean them up. The masking tape, obviously on ours we have the grill out, and I'm just going to be prepping them, doing all the sanding, all the grunt work on the car, and then I'm going to remove them, paint them, and put them back in. But some customers' cars, it's not this easy, so I'll use this and trash bags, newspaper, masking paper, mask it all off so that I can do that clear coat step. A Scotch-Brite pad on the back of a sponge, and Crest toothpaste. That seems kind of odd, but we'll show you why in a second. This is the finish sanding, so this is our 1500 and 2000 grit. We got 600 grit here. This is just more 1500 grit, so we're going to start with this, and then we'll work our way down, and finally with the 2000. Once we're done with that, we'll clean everything off. The only thing that I don't have right now is the acetone, and we'll show you how to do that. But this is the last step, our Spray Max 2K Clear. We're going to do this and the grill at the same time because there's enough paint for both. Semi going by. Anyway, so once you activate this can, you pretty much have to use it. You can stick it in the freezer and it stays good for a little while, but you want to be able to use the entire can, so we're going to do that all in one shot. Other than that, the last step after we do that 2000 grit, we're going to put this on there and we're going to work it in with that sponge. Seems weird. Crest toothpaste with the baking soda and peroxide is kind of gritty, right? So it almost works as a polishing compound at the end. So we'll get going on this. I'm going to clean them off, and then, yeah, we'll get to sanding these. One thing I did want to mention really fast is on these older vehicles, the plastic headlights have these little casting, I don't know what you want to call them, nubs, nipples, whatever you want to call them, but 1, 2, 3, and then there's 3 on the other light. So I actually remove those so it's easier to sand, and it just ends up looking a little bit cleaner. So we're going to use the Dremel with an Easy Lock grinding disc. If I had 2 hands I could show you, but you pull down on this collar, it's actually really slick, and then you just twist and pop it on there. So very carefully, because you don't want to go into the lens itself. You just want to get this as flush as you can. Take those off. I'm going to do that quick, and then we'll show you what that looks like. All right, so really fast before we get into the time lapse, you can see we just ground those nubs down. You'll still see them a little bit, but overall it's just going to make sanding a lot easier because I'm not going to get caught up on them. So we're going to start with the 600 grit. Just wet your sandpaper and then go to town. Make sure you spend the same amount of time on both lenses so you get as close to a matched even finish as possible. So I'm just going to time lapse you, work through my sandpaper, and then I'll catch back up with you. All right, so we're done with the sandpaper steps. We went through 600 grit, 1500 grit, and then 2000 grit. So now we're gonna move on to the toothpaste. Don't worry about this haziness. We're gonna take care of that. I'll show you a trick with some acetone. It's gonna brighten this up if you do it the right way, and it's also going to prep the surface for our clear coat. So next step, we're gonna put the Crest toothpaste on here, rub that in with our sponge, do it on both sides, and then yeah. After that, then we're ready for the acetone and the clear coat. All right, so we're ready to use the 2K clear on our headlights and our grill. And before we get started, show you what we're gonna do, all I have to say is good God. If you're a mechanic, auto technician, you just happen to stumble across this video, you've all heard the Jesus clip, right? The Jesus clip holds your tranny cooler line, stuff like that on. Everyone always talks about how bad they suck. Personally, I keep some of them in my drawers, but that is no match for the Ford/Mercury headlight housing bracket. This thing sucks. I've never seen anything like this before, and it looks like you'd want to use a snap ring plier. That didn't work either. You're better off stabbing your finger a few thousand times. This is before they introduced the little rod that just goes down and hits those adjustment bolts that way and secures the headlight. These things suck. There's 2 on each side. They suck. Obviously, you're going to want your respirator when you use the 2K clear because this stuff has a hardener in it, right? You pop that bladder on the bottom and then you want to shake it up really good. Once you open this stuff, it's a professional grade clear coat in a can. Once you open it, you want to use it. So that's why we're doing the grill and the headlight assemblies at the same time. That being said, once I put the respirator on, you're not going to be able to understand me, so I'm just going to kind of go over this now. We still have to wipe this down with the acetone. I'll probably show you one and then show you the finished result here. The grill is ready to go. You can see the textured finish we got with that technique that we used. Looks really nice. So let's get you set up, wipe down a lens, and talk about a few key things when you do this.
when you do the headlights, you just want to dust the coats on. I got my respirator on, so I'm trying to talk loudly, but this will crack and run really easily if you don't do light dusting. So we're gonna do lots of coats on there. On here, we can go a little bit heavier.
Guys, with that, I'm going to close this little video out. I didn't do a complete detail, so I kind of cheated here in stage one. I just did a quick vacuum and I pressure washed the floor mats, just got it kind of livable, wiped it down, got all the garbage out of it. I hope this is a video series you guys will find really entertaining. I'm excited about it. Stay tuned for stage number 2, and I think it looks a lot better. Thanks for watching, guys. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing, smash that like button down below, and as always, we'll see you next time.